each other.
But for fuck's sake! I always get high numbers when I don't need them. And who's rolling this?
What the fuck is this? Wait, what?
Welcome to another little cozy video where I talk to you about what I have been reading. So the last time I was stood here filming, I said I was going to update you on Cursed Bread, and that didn't happen. So I started reading Cursed Bread in a reading sprint, and I got like 9 pages in and I was like, this isn't for me. I was just so bored. So I DNF'd it. That's okay, I can do that. And I decided to pick up a horror. I think I wanted something a bit more gripping, a bit more like consuming. So I picked up Itch by Gemma Amor, which is like a folk horror, like a contemporary folk horror. So we were following a woman who had recently moved back home to her childhood home following a breakup, and she stumbles across a body in the woods. And as the story unfolds, she discovers more about local legend and folklore and these sorts of things, all whilst juggling this sort of new chapter in her life. The thing with Itch, as you can maybe guess from the title, it is an uncomfortable read. It makes you feel itchy. There is lots of talk about insects and it was interesting. I was really gripped for maybe the first like 15%, and I was really... Oh, fuck. Just mean your normal chips that you normally do. So for like the first 10%, I was really gripped. I was really interested in where the story was going. The chapters were very short, so they were easy to get invested. And then I don't know what happened. I just sort of lost interest. I found that when I was reading the book, I was enjoying it, but as soon as I put it down, I had no excitement to pick it up. And I started to feel like I was getting a bit slumpy. So I just said, okay, fine, we're just going to leave Itch. I can always come back to it at another point, and I'm going to pick something that I feel is really going to, you know, hit that spot that I'm really going to want to get invested in. I'm not going to want to put down something that maybe I've been excited for. So I went for The Appeal, which has been on my radar for so long. I've wanted to read this for ages. This is I want to say cozy. It's a murder mystery with that sort of like small town village Agatha Christie vibes, but like more modern. I have heard people talk about this book for a very long time. I've seen lots of hype. Lots of people love this book, and it is like, it's been on my radar. It's been one of those that if you'd said like what are the top 10 books that you want to get to for the past couple of years, this would have been top of my list, but it just seems to never go on sale. Luckily it has now, so I picked it up. I have read from Janice Hallett before, so that's the author of this book. I've read from her before and I absolutely loved the book. It was The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels, and that had been on my radar for a while, and I absolutely loved it. I pretty much devoured it in one night, and I'm sure it was like over 400 pages, and I just sped through it. And then I made my wife read it, and I was like, oh my God. I was just so gripped. It was just so twisty and turny, and I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. And then something else just like, oh, it was just a crazy time, and I had a really good time with it. So I made it a priority to read the rest of her books, but I wanted to start with this one. So I've been putting off all of the other books for so long so I could pick up this one, because I know this is like her most talked about book. I am really enjoying it. So I'm about halfway through, and it is one of those that while I'm reading it, I just don't want to put it down. And then when I inevitably have to put it down, I just want to pick it back up again. So it is exactly what I wanted. So it's really difficult to say what this story is about, because I think all of Janice Hallett's books, or at least her adult books, are in this mixed media format. So this story is two, I think they're like junior detectives or maybe like junior lawyers, or they're two people low down in the pecking order trying to find out what has happened oh my God, it's so difficult to explain. So basically, this book is told through emails and letters and newspaper articles and text messages between a group of people who are involved in adult amateur dramatics. So they are putting on a play, so there's lots of rehearsals, there's lots of things going on where these characters are interacting with each other. And we are seeing all of these emails sort of that have been sent to these two detectives. So we're not following the detectives, but the book begins with these detectives, I think they're detectives, reading over the evidence, but they don't know what happens. They have no idea. They've just sort of been given this case by like their manager and just sort of said like, tell me what you think of it. So they don't know what's going to happen. It's not like on the first page it goes, right, XYZ person has been murdered, find out who did it, or nothing like, there's no information. So we, reading along, don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really, really gripped. It's one of these that like, it's 400 pages, so it's like, it's a bit of a slow burn. But there are just these moments that like, they'll just throw something in there and I'll be like, oh my God, what is going on? It's so addictive. And it was the same with the Alberton Angels. Like, they lay out this really, really clear plot. They're like, this is what's happening. And then all this other stuff just happens. And you're like, what is going on? And I love it because it gives me so much information, but also absolutely nothing at the same time. And it's just addictive. Like, you just want to be in the know. And like, I found this with the Alberton Angels, that I would read it and I'd be like, oh, I know what's happening. And like, absolutely got that sauced. And then I'd be wrong. Or I'd be right about a couple of things and then completely wrong about something else. Or like, I got the person, but not the motive. Or I got the motive, but not the person. Or I got the place, but not like I got little bits, but just like not the big picture. And I think that's probably what's going to happen with the appeal, because there are a few moments and I'm like, no, I've absolutely sussed that. And then other things I'm like, I've got no idea what's going on. So it is such a fun read. I'm having a really, really good time with it. I'm so glad I finally picked this up because I've been waiting for so long. I'm glad that I have finally given this one a go. So I am hoping to finish this tonight. So I'll check back. Oh, I'm pressing pages. So I will check back in with you tomorrow and give you my final thoughts on The Appeal. The Appeal. I gave this 4 stars. I had a really good time with it. I knew I would. I've been wanting to read this for years, so I knew I was going to enjoy it, but it was different to what I expected. So now that I've read it, I feel like I can give you a better synopsis than last time. So the premise of this book is 2 junior lawyers who have been instructed to read through some documents and find out what has happened. That's pretty much the brief that they're given. That's where we start. It's, hey, here's a load of documents, read them, come to a conclusion. So the majority of the book is those documents. So there's emails, there's some newspaper articles. That's pretty much it. It's mostly emails. And these emails are between members of an adult amateur drama society type thing. They're putting on a play, and it's between all the different cast members and crew, and a lot happens, a lot unfolds, and you're just reading through the correspondence. Some is relevant, some isn't relevant. You're trying to unpick what's happened, find out who was murdered, why they were murdered. It's a long book. It's not. It's, I think, just over 400 pages, so it's not like a long book. But for me, it felt a little bit like slow paced because you're reading so much information. And there were times where I sort of had to go back and like reread a paragraph because there's just so much happening and there's so much information, and it's from email. Like, it's just so much to take in. It felt slow. And it's one of those books that I'm like, I wish it was shorter, but like thinking about it, could it have been shorter? Like, what would have been cut to make it shorter? And like thinking about it, I can't think of anything that could have been cut because it was all relevant. It was necessarily long. Everything contributed to the stories and the reveals and the mysteries, and there were things that were revealed and I was like, wait, I missed that, and I went back and reread and I was like, oh my god, how did I miss that? And just little things, and like someone would suggest a theory and I'd be like, no way, let me go back and read it. And I'd be like, no way. And if it was interactive, it gets your brain going, you're thinking, you're trying to read between the lines, and it's fun. I enjoyed that, and I am very impressed that I guessed the murderer. I was thoroughly proud of myself for that one, but I didn't get any of the rest. It went over my head. So I gave it a 4 stars. The reason that it wasn't higher, I think, was that it just wasn't gripping enough. Like, I like my thrillers to just like grab me and just pull me in, and I just don't want to stop reading. That wasn't the case for this. This felt more of like a good fun time, just like, I don't know, like a good meal. Like, you know, when you go out for food and your food's good and you don't want to rush it, and then like you're driving home and you're like, yeah, that was a good meal. That's what the appeal was like. I enjoyed spending time with it. I enjoyed the experience, but it wasn't one of those like just rip through it, just gripping, exciting kind of reads. Do you know what I'm getting at? Yeah.